But I haven't talked too much about the Phillies except in an optimistic sort of tone. But now we have some content because they've played games. So now we get to be pessimistic about the Phillies, just like we were about the Flyers, just like we've been about the Union, and just like we've been about the Eagles. So, the Phillies. How have they been disappointing us? They are 5-3 right now. They could be 2 games up in the NL East after tonight. It's the top of the first inning, or actually that game I think is just about to start right now as I'm recording this. Yeah, let's see. They're 5-3 right now. The Braves are 1 game back. You know, it's early in the season, but hey, they started off 5-1. It's just these last 2 games, right? And then that one Mets game. No, that has not been the case at all. They have sucked this entire season, and if you're wondering how, let me explain. The starting pitching was, I admit, it was great the first 4 games, and then it absolutely died on us. It lasted from April 1st to April 4th, and then after that, they just completely forgot how to play. Nola can't pitch, Wheeler can't pitch, Eflin can't pitch. It's pretty early in the season, to not be able to get through 5 innings. I mean, look at what DeGrom did the other day. He went 8 innings, gave up 1 run. And granted, they lost because of the Mets, but still, he went 8 innings. And in the game, I think he pitched against the Phillies, he had 6 innings, 77 pitches. At least he got through 6 innings, and he probably could have gotten through 7 as well. And yet still, on the Philadelphia side of things, Nola, I think, got through 4 1/3. Wheeler got through 4 2/3. And Eflin got through, I want to say 5. Might be a little bit off on that in the game yesterday. Regardless, none of them got to the 7th inning. None of them even got to the 6th inning. I mean, and we've been kind of spoiled by our bullpen. Not yesterday, but we've been spoiled by our bullpen a little bit recently. But, when you're on a 7-game road trip with no days off, you can't exactly afford to use your bullpen the way that they've been using it. You need some length out of your pitchers. And if they're not giving you length, and here's the thing, I love watching pitching. I like watching pitching more than I like watching hitting. Because, it's interesting. I'm a stat person. I like stats, and I like, keeping track of ERAs and strikeouts and all that sort of stuff. I like pitching. I don't know what it is. I just like pitching. And so it doesn't only pain me to see that these big three pitchers can't get through 6 innings as a Phillies fan, but as an MLB fan, I'm pained by that too. And even when the Rays were doing their stuff with the opener and all that stuff, that was interesting to me because I liked the whole opener thing. I mean, it got a little bit tiring after a while, to kind of think about these things, but, you would expect some length out of your pitchers. Now, are these 3 guys going to turn into openers? Basically, what the opener is just putting a bullpen guy in first and then your starter, but your starter is essentially not really a starter. He's kind of like a what's a word? He's kind of like a length bullpen guy. So he can go 3, 4, or 5 innings, but he can't go 6 or 7, and he knows that. And then eventually they might become a starter, but the likely thing is he'll stay in the bullpen and just be open or whatever, the bulk guy. I think that's the name for it. And so anyway, the starting pitchers can't pitch. Alvarado completely forgot how to play how to play the game of baseball in the second road game versus the Braves. That was yesterday's game. Between Hazley and Quinn, neither center fielder can hit their way out of a paper bag, and it's gotten to the point where I'm honestly starting to think a little bit about, okay, well, Odubel Herrera, maybe he has changed as a human being. My mind is at that point right now where, I want them to bring back Kingery, but Kingery stunk in spring training, so he's probably still not gonna do anything if he's called up. But I'm starting to think a little bit about Odubel Herrera because neither Hazley or Quinn are good. Rhys Hoskins has completely forgotten how to play first base, and I'd be even angrier at him if he weren't hitting well as well. But he's had 3 drops to start the season, and each of those 3 drops were entirely his fault. And he might have more than that weren't his fault, but I've seen 3 that were 100% his fault. And then hitting all around, I mentioned this before on Twitter, hitting all around has been lackluster. I think I actually mentioned that in the last podcast episode too. The team is only scoring an average of 3.87 runs per game, which is 17th in the league right now. But last year, that would have been good for 28th. There's 30 teams in this league. 3.87 runs per game? That's bad. That means, like, you're scoring essentially 4 runs per game, and then some games you're not even scoring, like, you're scoring 3. And this isn't hockey. Like, the average score for baseball games is, anymore, is you want to get 5, 6, 7 runs. Like, that should be your goal. They're only driving in less than 4. That's just sad. And so the stats as of yesterday, the game's going on right now, or the game has just started while I'm recording this. Let me see if anything has happened yet. It's actually the middle of the first. The Phillies did nothing in the top of the first. Let's see. McCutchen popped out. Hoskins flew out. And then Harper struck out. Oh, and then Ronald Acuna just singled. Literally just to start the game. So that's cool. Let's see. How many pitches has this guy even thrown so far? I don't know. Drew Smiley's on the mound. He's thrown 8 pitches in the first inning. 8 pitches. And 3 outs in 8 pitches. Wow. That's just bad. You can't even get that number in double digits if you're the Phillies? Come on. Anyway, let's talk about the stats of hitting. Bohm is batting 200. Granted, he had that 1 good home run. Let's just take the Mets 8-2 win out of the equation for a second. Think about how this team has played this season. Have they been at all good? The answer is no. They haven't been hitting at all outside of that game. Bohm is batting 200. Segura is batting 226. McCutchen's batting 208. Hazley's batting 211. That's after yesterday's game. Not today's game. Not counting today's game. And those 4 guys are all consistently in the starting lineup. So you've got no hitting from 4 guys that are in the starting lineup. Oh, and then Matt Moore just gave up a 2-run homer as I'm recording this. So it's 2-0 Braves. Not a single out, and the Phillies are already giving up runs. Wow. Ozzie Albies 2-run homer. So they're going to be 5-4. They're 5-3 right now. They will be 5-4. And so in conclusion, this team is an all-around embarrassment, and we should stop even talking about the playoffs. I mean, I talk so much about, who would get that 5th wild card spot. It would be I thought it would be between the Phillies and the Mets. But the Mets suck, and the Phillies suck. So it's going to wind up being some team from the NL Central probably, unless San Francisco pulls through. But it's not going to the fifth spot, the 5th or the 2nd wild card spot, the 5th seed in the National League is not going to the NL East. By the way these teams are playing. I mean, the Braves will get in, but the Mets suck and the Phillies suck. So neither of those teams are getting in. Embarrassing. And we had high hopes for this team.